Because that's like my kind of song.
For sure. I mean, I get it, but
Let me know.
I,
Hello,
I,
everybody.
I get my explanations on my perspective on it all.
That's how I be. That's the music I be playing, and then I hear. Anyways, we'll wait for people to come in. We'll wait for people to come in. I will,
What's up, y'all?
as usual, go
happy Thursday.
And start.
Happy Thursday.
You know, let me actually go and do for your people too. I realized I haven't been doing it much on your phone, even though I got you hacked and then
got me hacked.
I did. I know. It's the one thing you can actually hold over my head that I've actually done.
No, I didn't really.
Sir. Like, sir.
I didn't really.
Sir.
A lot of followers to me.
Sir.
You know,
Sir.
I'm a 70s baby, so like.
Sir.
300 followers is a lot to me.
Sir.
But look, I got 300 people on my page.
Sir. Okay, like what are we talking about, sir?
But you still got me hacked.
I did get you hacked, and I'm so upset at myself that I actually allowed that. Thank you, babe, because I was really mad at myself
over social media stuff like that.
I actually was so upset at myself. I was like, how dare I? Like, and it's because I wasn't paying attention. I was doing too much. I was doing way too much, and here we are, and. I
got my spectacles on tonight because I'm getting older, and I realized, and when I'm looking at screens, these glasses, they got the blue blocker stuff in them, and I don't got that 2010 no more. I was a little disappointed to realize that, but reading text on a screen, I feel like I was blinded now.
Oh, really? How come you didn't say any of that to me?
I see everything fine without them, but still, everything is much crispier, and it just again the screen almost looks 3D. It's like, yeah, I am glad I got them.
Well, they look good.
For another
we did a good job.
You did. She did pick them out.
Thank you.
Give her credit. Credit where it's due.
I appreciate you.
Credit where credit's due.
I appreciate you.
So we're just inviting people now.
Yeah, we're just inviting people.
Wave at ourselves.
Yeah, we in the house.
We're in here. We should. We in here. We looking at something else.
We in the house.
And we understand it's the finals going on right now. My daughter and my bro is downstairs watching the game. I don't think they're even watching. Well, of course, my daughter ain't watching. But,
no, she is definitely not watching.
I don't think Mr. Flowers is watching either. He's into the Golden State Boston thing. She was going for Boston. I'm like, Boston could be problematic. I'm a Lakers fan though, so it's very difficult to go for the Lucky Charms. But I ain't mad. Brown and Tatum is fire, and I could see them giving them some problems. But Golden State, I'm always better on the bets though.
Why?
Because the bets, you think they're gonna let them young boys whoop them?
Did you hear about the auto-generated computer thing that predicted that the Celtics would be in the finals, even though they were sucking?
Well, no, but shoot, since the break, they're the best team in the league. I mean, yeah, they had a horrible start to the season.
No, this was beginning of the season.
Oh, at the very beginning.
At the very beginning of the season.
Stuff, yeah, shout out to Boston. Shout out to the Boston fans. Y'all did it. It is. I was looking at one thing that was pointed out to me where I'm like, that is kind of like, both Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant got bounced very early in the playoffs. Meanwhile, both of the old teams are in the finals. So I'm sure that they're a little bit in their feelings behind that.
I don't know if they are.
Yeah, because KD responded to something Draymond said about, how much Steph got double teamed during the finals, that even though KD got them 2 finals MVPs, at the end of the day, Steph was the one getting double teamed all the time. And KD responded, I think that's 100% inaccurate or something like that. So he's definitely
he's probably in his feelings.
He's a little tender about that.
I don't know what Kyrie doing, but I don't know if Kyrie cares. Kyrie didn't care to get vaccinated. So
missing games. He looked at it as a mental health holiday.
So
I'm pretty sure that's how you looked at it.
It is what it is.
Hello.
So let me talk about something before we get into this topic.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you guys have ever been in a relationship with someone of basically the same age, and there are days they made you feel real old. Rob's music makes me feel real old. I don't know if it's the cultural differences. I don't know if you like the young people that music, but let me tell you something. Rob will put on some music, and I'm like, what in the rotted clod is this? I feel like I need either Shazam or I need to call my 20-year-old to be like, listen, can you listen to this and translate? Another funny part of the story, so Chris Brown's coming to town, and I was looking at these concerts, and I'm like, baby, like, we haven't been to a concert yet. And then I saw who was with him, and I was like, little baby, who in the hell? I was like, I'm not going to a Chris Brown concert with a little baby. And I was like, babe, who is little? Of course, he knew right away. And I was like, who is little baby?
Yeah, Danielle was also highly disappointed. She was like, geez, like, you, come on now.
I don't know little, I'm a 42-year-old woman. Why do I know little baby?
Little baby is only like one of the biggest rappers in the industry.
What was the song he sang that I actually knew?
I couldn't even tell you.
Yeah, exactly. Little baby. I am not going to a Chris Brown concert. So again, Rob's musical taste makes me feel like an old, grumpy, like Jamaican woman. Because I'm like, oh my Jesus, Rotted, what is this that I'm hearing? Cover the children's ears, because all I hear is bitch, nigga, bitch, nigga, bitch, ho, bitch, nigga, bitch. And I'm like, what is this? What is this? This is not wholesome music. Why I'm like, the party's where let me know. Like, that's what I'm playing. Or some Bob Marley or some, Beanie Man, and I'm hearing bitch, nigga, ho. Like, no, sir.
Yeah, we got different playlists. Here's the thing. I just am not really with the idea of being irrelevant and not knowing what's going on today. And I'm not saying that you're irrelevant. It's just you're not really worried about it like that.
But when we have two young children, yes. Bitch, nigga, ho, bitch, spit, slap, bitch, no, nigga, ho, in my rolly. Oh, no.
Hey, man.
Like, no.
Rochester boy, what can I say?
No, so let's just say when we're
NWA,
when we're traveling in cars with the children, trust and believe Rob is not in charge of the musical thing because you're a bitch, nigga, ho.
It gets crazy.
No, not when you're by yourself. Even when you're with me, and I'm like, oh my God, can we play some like in between? Like, he doesn't always understand like dance hall music just because of the patois. He may understand some of it. So if I play like some Beres Hammond, some Bob Marley, he'll get that. But if I'm playing some maybe Vibes Cartel, Bonafide for him,
no,
Vibes Cartel, you don't really understand Vibes Cartel.
I don't understand it, but at least I know their songs. Like, you be digging in the Jamaican trenches sometimes. But we do have commonality in Afrobeats. We both find the common ground a bit there.
And you some like 90s R&B.
And I actually like the beats too. And the sound.
Well, Afrobeats, I'm Jamaican, so of course we're going to do the Afrobeats.
Sounds more current.
Oh, than my 90s.
Yeah, 90s essentials for those that have Apple Music. That's Sheba all day right there.
Leave me alone. Anyhow, today's topic. God, me, you, get in line.
Ooh, get in line. Who said that?
I said that.
Yeah, you did say that.
I did say that.
So does that imply there's some type of pecking order?
I would think so. Now, in today's modern world, that is a controversial statement, and we're going to play a clip from a lady shortly who will have to come online to kind of be like, I don't understand what the problem is. So, if you grew up in the church or had a traditional family, basically how it went in the household is the man reports to God. As a female, you report to the man, and then the children report into you. People say they want a head of household, but they want to be equals.
I don't get that concept. And it's not even just being a man. I think being an athlete in team sports, you understand that that's kind of ridiculous. Like
that there's two co-CEOs or co-captains or co-anything.
And there's a head coach and everybody else is assistant coaches or coordinators or whatever they are. But at the end of the day, the team, the program, the players go, the head coach sets the tone, and the rest of the coaches are there to move that tone along. And if they get to a place where they feel that they totally disagree with the style of the head coach, then they either need to resign or they're going to get fired.
Interesting. So how does a woman get fired when she doesn't agree with the pecking order of a relationship?
Unfortunately, a lot of women get fired in a way that isn't as straightforward as in the sports world. It's the term called ghosted.
Oh.
When you're like, oh, things were going so great, he just stopped calling me. They were going great for you, but you weren't listening, and he was tired of talking to you, and he just said, good.
Which is so funny because a lot of, ghosting has been a big thing, right? A lot of people find ghosting to be rude. However, as the more I know about men and the more I learn about men, especially being with Rob, it's like, should I be rude or should I just leave you alone? Like, when I'm done with you, I'm done with you. There's a lot of women who will be done with a man, but still entertain him when he calls, where I'm a block.
Prove that they're done with
like, I'm a block and delete person. Like, I block and delete. Like, block and delete. I don't care who you are, your own mama. I block and delete, right? Because when I need a break, whether it is permanent or temporary, I don't want to even be in a space where I'm like, oh, let me see what such and such is up to. And no, I'm not doing that. I block and delete. That is ghosting. That is actually what ghosting is, because then if the person wants to call me, but women for some reason are very sensitive to being ghosted.
Well, here's the thing, ladies. Let me ask you a question. Would you rather be ghosted, or would you rather and y'all say y'all want the truth, or would you rather he tell you exactly why he stopped dealing with you? He made the decision to stop dealing with you. And the reason that most guys, even if you said, no, tell me the truth, is because the way male-female arguments go, and a lot of times, I tell you, sometimes even between us, you're much better than most women. But when you say, like he says, okay, this is why I stopped messing with you, and then she tries to explain to you why you're wrong in all those reasons that you chose to stop messing with her. And that's why guys ghost, because they just don't want to.
I don't want that conversation.
It's too much hassle trying to break up with some of y'all.
Oh, damn. Well, Flippin' Combo, thank you for joining. They said most of us need space, but we'll entertain open conversations. But if you're done, you're done. And that's why I got to appreciate men when they're done. Like, a lot of you, when you're done, you're done.
In general, we backtrack sometimes for whatever reasons that we do, and usually it doesn't work, and we learn our lesson about that and stop doing it. But yeah, for the most part, when we're done, we're done.
Okay, so let me ask you a question, and I'm going to ask you this before we get into our video. A lot of women grew up hearing this: find a man who loves you more than you love him.
And that's why the divorce rate is 50-some%.
Why do you say that?
That's unnatural dynamic.
Why do you say that?
Because of the way men and women are constructed, it makes more sense for the woman to love him more than he loves her. And it's not by some huge degree. It's not like 95%, 5%, but the way that y'all love is even more in alignment with that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Y'all are the nurturers. Y'all are the mothers. Again, historically, mom's role, and again, women don't want to hear it, mom's role has been to put her dreams aside in order to help everyone else in the family achieve their dreams.
Mm-hmm. So if
how are you gonna do that if I love you more than you love me? How's that gonna work?
Basically, it's not.
Right. So I'm gonna put down my dreams to try to help you fulfill yours, I guess. And then I'm gonna be Lawrence on the couch and insecure. And we've seen how those 6 seasons played out.
Agreed. Okay. Well,
Lawrence can always get up off the couch. Real talk. I was on the couch not too long ago. Very far from it now.
That you are. And I wish you had to put this remote so far knowing that I have a video to play.
Sorry.
Okay, so we're going to play this video. And these videos are always interesting to me because it's funny to me. And I titled it Pick Me because a lot of women who feel some of the ways and the views that we have and I have in this relationship feel as if it's pick me energy. So let's hear what this young lady had to say.
Husband coming to this house, he runs this shit, period. And I know that sounds, old school and I get called a pick me and all that bullshit, whatever. My husband runs me, period, point blank. Period. He runs me. He has the last say so at the end of the day. He's the king of this house. He runs this household. Yes, he allows me to do what I need to do. I can move freely. I can, make my own decisions. If I see something, I want to do something, he's going to support it. But the minute that he's like, nah, that ain't going, it ain't going. Why? Because as a queen, I respect my husband's wisdom. I respect my husband's output and outlook on life.
Years always popping. Now, if you listening to this with your ears and your intelligence and not your emotions and your ego, you'll understand exactly what she's saying.
Well, facts. And not to make a joke of my bro, but if you pay attention to the video when he had to fix his shirt away, his nipples was getting hard listening to her.
You're so ridiculous. He was not.
We were getting moist listening to her. Like, I know I was. I'm like, that's preach. Well,
you are hilarious. Here's the word.
I like to hear women talk like that.
And I'm glad he did the disclaimer because here's the word I'm going to tell you that would piss women off. Can you guess the word she used that pisses women off?
But submit?
Allow.
Oh, allow.
Okay. She said, my husband allows me to X, Y, Z. And just like our good friend Ali, who talks about, again, serving her husband and doing those things, words like allow put women up in arms because, again, what they hear is, are you my father? How dare a man allow me to do anything? They are not getting the full message of what she has to say. I have been accused of being a pick-me. I told you that. I have been accused of having pick-me energy. And I'm like, how do I have pick-me energy if I am already chosen? You don't have pick-me energy if you're chosen. And thank you, Carmone. Carmone says she allows. She allows because he is trustworthy.
Absolutely.
And at the end of the day, I think it's a foundation of respect. That man, in my mind, I don't want to speak about that man. I will speak about you. If I am passionate about something, there is no way you're going to kibosh it. If I come to you and I'm passionate about something that I want to do, because let's be clear, people, I discuss practically every move. Actually, I would go 99.9% of the moves that I'm going to make with Rob, because again, it will change our dynamic if I make a move or if he makes a move that doesn't align with the path that we want to go on. And so if there's anything that comes to my intention, I will say, babe, someone has reached out to me to do this. How will this work? If I'm passionate about something, he's going to be like, okay, we'll make it work. If it is one of those things where he's like, I'm sorry, somebody wants you to, take a year job for $55,000 a year. Nah, like, you're not, I'm saying? Like, nah, you're not doing that. And to a lot of people, $55,000 a year sounds like a lot of money. One, I've made much more money than that. So that would be a downgrade for me. And two, he's like, I'll go make the extra money if that's what we need, because you're going to be in a space where you can't move the way we need to move to get this house going.
And a lot of y'all won't even, y'all are just here, oh, he won't let her work. No, she actually has a job. She's a contractual worker. She gets a monthly stipend. It's her money. And she enjoys what she does. She's one of the most highly requested consultants in this program, in this offering. I over listen to her, and I know how good she is at what she does. You know, like I said, she's a very good facilitator, an inspirer, so a strategist. She's a very good mom. Motherly qualities make for a good business consultant because she listens and then she says, "Have you thought of this? Have you tried this? Have you thought of this? Have you tried this? Have you thought of this? Have you tried this?" It's all good. So all she does that. But on the flip side of that, the real reason that I say I would not sign off on her
I know why you're gonna say
job outside of the house is she's a workaholic.
Oh, yeah.
Why? It's not going to be 40 hours. It's not going to be 30 hours. It's going to be 50, 60, 70 hours, like 80 hours. That's how hard she works around here. Like, she literally passed out. I'm getting to bed. It's an iPad and headphones. Did you fall asleep with this shit?
I did fall asleep with the iPad and the headphones.
So I get it. So imagine how very unpleased I would be if she was working for the man like that. And that's ultimately how I look at it. She could work for me or she could work for the man. Which one makes more sense?
And we decided that I would work for the family proudly. Like, I would proudly work for the family. And I think, again, so when we hear God made you, get in line, for a lot of women, there's an aversion to this idea. And I'd be curious from women, why that is. Why is it? Because in everything, there has to be an order, right? Like a reporting structure. In my last job, I reported directly to the CEO, right? That was the report. I couldn't make any decisions without the CEO's signing off on it, right? Like that is understood.
Currently, they bought me in the door with that. That's how it works.
I don't
just get to go in and make my own deals and sign off on them and fund them and book them and do whatever like that. That's ridiculous.
And Rob's in the same position. He reports directly to the CEO and president of the organization he works at. We get that. Like, there's reporting structures. So why is that they're not reporting structures in a relationship? Because it seems to work in everything else.
I know you're not asking me. So here we're going to go.
I'm putting it to the general people, baby.
Yeah, I think they're getting it though. They're following it, and it's you got me thinking though about the order of it is God made you,
and then the babies.
I'm gonna touch on a couple of things through my experience that I think get relationships jammed up, and I was culpable in ways, and in other ways I wasn't.
Wasn't.
Anyhow, so let's talk on the God part right here. I'm gonna make another one of my little statements. As his woman, it is not your place to question his relationship with God. I don't care if this dude don't ever go to church. You don't know what he's been through. You don't know what he's been delivered from. You don't know what he's been saved from.
You're going in. I know when you're getting to this.
I'm being real. And a lot of times the relationships get jammed up because the woman's sitting there looking at him like, why would I submit to him? Because he ain't submitting to God. You don't know what he's doing. You're out of pocket.
So a woman who says that, what do they define as submitting to God? Going to church every Sunday?
I've been through it. It's
I would like to understand, because
it really is an individual thing, and that's why you need to have alignment. We are both. I don't even want to use the word spiritual because I'm finding that I'm a bit more religious than I thought I was.
No, we understand that there is.
But I don't really get down with the concepts of
a building called the church.
Love Jesus, but hate his messengers, man.
Oh.
Like, let's be real. Next to liquor stores, you go to the worst neighborhoods in America, and churches are the second highest density building in that neighborhood. Liquor stores and churches. You go to any hood in America, you're going to find multiples of them. What's up, church?
And it was funny. I was having a conversation today in one of my consulting things talking about, because the young lady happens to do tarot card reading. And she does life coaching, and she does all this stuff. And of course, as a West Indian, you hear this, Lord God, blah, 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 blah. So we were talking about, how to change how people see her business, not how they think about her business, but how they see her business. And again, often we hear churches, and I actually mentioned you when I said, as much of a believer as you are, you're not a part of church, right? No. You don't like church. Now, what I was saying is, it's interesting for me because growing up in Jamaica as a young girl and then moving to Toronto, American churches are slightly different. I will speak to back home churches. Back home churches, when the children need school bags and need to pay, because in Jamaica you have to pay a school fee, right? You have to pay school fee. The Sister Lawrence is sick, whatever. Like, the church does that, right? The church rallies together, and even it might not even be an affluent church, but the people with the little bit of money that they have are putting together to make sure that the picnic them can go to school, and they have school fee, and they have school bag, and them have khaki, we call it khaki. They have their uniforms, they do that. So that's how I have seen church. However, when I think about North American church, so I completely understood where you were coming from. And there's helicopter pads, and there's, there's Rolls Royces and Bentleys and VIP areas. There's like a whole VIP section of church. I could completely get that, because to me, I can't go into that situation knowing that how I adorn my body is more important than my heart. What we jump into is they're going to look at that and say, well, Brother Stevenson, are you giving us your 10%? Because I see you guys just jumped into insert car here.
Man, get the hell out of my face. Like, here's the thing.
Pastor T-Flow Dollar.
Right, here's the thing about it. Like, especially, I probably will make a return to church in a more semi-formal position. Here's the thing that might ruffle some feathers. It'll probably be a white church.
Oh no, I will not be attending with you.
You can be mad.
No, you'll be going to that one.
I prefer white church over black church.
I'm not doing that.
White church is a little bit of worship, a lot of word, and you get out of there. And I'm not talking about Catholic church either. Black church, in my experience, in many, many places, it's a concert followed by a performance followed by a fundraiser. It's just way too much going on, man. I ain't got 3 hours on Sunday morning. I want to get to watch football. I want to get to my day. I'm ADD.
Did you say a fundraiser?
Yeah. Oh, fundraising, don't front. Fundraising is a huge part of the black church. Building fund.
Please say the American black church, because
you're right. I'd like to go, but that's because
when you go to the churches, when we get to Jamaica, you're gonna see. I'm gonna tell you. And again, I haven't lived there in 30 odd years. However, I can tell you the foundation of what church means. And even if there's one or two churches like that on the island, they're not the majority. They're the minority.
Listen to me. In America, there's something called prosperity teaching.
What is that?
Prosperity teaching is the ideology in the church almost that if your finances sitting right, it's because your life ain't right with God. You're doing something wrong in your life, because if you weren't, God would be blessing you with favor and more money.
Oh, okay. So,
but how does that work in Sudan?
It doesn't, and doesn't work in Jamaica.
How does that work in China or in how does that work in the third world? That message of you line your life up with God and the prosperity is going to come rolling.
Okay, so
the people that teach that way, it's kind of like trickle down economics, like you said, Creflo Dollar. He winds up being ridiculously prosperous,
and everybody else poor.
But everybody else in the church still struggling with what they're struggling with, other than basically exactly that. Now, is that every black church in America? No. I have actually been to some churches that I felt the presence of God permeating in the building.
I've had that. I've had one church.
But that's how I look. But I've also stepped in churches where I was like, God ain't nowhere in this building.
That is fact. So Dahlia Joanne says, I would love to get back to church. Anglican church is exactly what Rob needs. It's like the white folks church with black folk, but Christianity is really a white people's concept. When we were living in the wilds of Africa, eating fruits and riding lions, who are we worshiping? Not white Jesus. I still don't worship no white Jesus. I don't even know what white Jesus is. No. There's not. I don't know who that one is.
I believe that, again, most of my beliefs are conceptual and pretty fluid, because here's the thing about beliefs, man. People will kill and people will die over beliefs. I think ideas are a lot safer and better. I have a lot of ideas, but ideas can be changed in the face of better information,
Correct.
of education. So too often times, one of the most significant aspects of your life, you know, you get your mind, body, and spirit. Spirit is important.
Agreed.
But when it's pushed from the perspective of beliefs, it gets dangerous. Look at what's going on in the world. Most of the evil done in the world is perpetrated under some type of ideology of I'm doing right.
So let's get to this. Go back to the title of our show, God, Me, You.
Yeah.
If there are people who say that in that case, then the idea of God is a social construct. Then why? Hold on. So let me get to it. So if the idea of God is a social construct, why in the hell would there ever be a reporting structure? Because if again there is no one for you to report to, then why would I report it to you? I'm just thinking like maybe a feminist.
No, I get
would
you,
think,
but that's like you need to sit down and agree with Mormon. You know where I've had some of the most enlightened religious conversations in my life?
Where?
In the gutter.
I don't know where the gutter is.
And not so nice places and not so nice neighborhoods with not so nice people. I found that oftentimes people with the hardest circumstances have the strongest faith.
Faith.
So
faith is we're going to hold on to that. So faith is the key. So it's the idea, because again, I bring this up just to think again. Right? I was like, what is the gutter? But faith is the key. It is a man who has faith. So for those who question whether a man believes in Christianity or God, is it enough to have faith to be able to run that household? So faith, me, you, for people who would question again the social
construct. It's still God, because I don't really know a lot of male atheists.
That's true. Let's hold on there for a second. So Dahlia Joanne says, I like the indigenous concept of creator. Acknowledge and respect where you're from and what got you here, and honor your process and travels through this life.
I like that.
Well, it's funny because the creator is something that people talk about, and I agree, faith is very different from religion.
And even from spirituality.
Because religion, again, people could say is a social construct. And again, I'm bringing these up, not sexy time, I bring these up because, again, when people try to debate the idea of a hierarchy in a relationship, because that's what we're saying. We're saying that in a relationship, there's a hierarchy. And again, but think about it this way. I'm just going to give you a thing. When the firing squad comes, when the burglar comes, what do you usually see in the home? The husband or father, the wife / mother, and the children are behind. Usually you will see this. And it goes, Rob does that to me, and then I do that to the children. I naturally do that when Danny and I are walking, or when Tran and I were walking, or if we're in the car and I'm driving and I'm coming to a stop, I kind of put my hand because it's a protection thing. You do that.
With me. I'll be like, what are you going to do to break your arm? Like, stop it. Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah. I don't drive often, so.
Yeah, that part too. So.
But again, let's talk about it visually. That's what happens.
But there's a certain pecking order. And again, I think and I'm speaking from experience, a lot of women, if they don't see what they feel like they should see as far as his faith, his spiritual life is, you don't know if he's in the bathroom praying before he comes to bed and brushes.
Yeah, you don't get to tell me what my walk with God is like.
Thank you. But like I said, I don't know many male atheists because ain't no atheists in foxholes.
What is a foxhole?
The trench you dig when they shooting.
Oh, okay. Sometimes I just have to get these things right. I don't know. It does men things, right? Like
right.
I leave the man things to the man. Like I don't even understand what the hell a foxhole is.
Ain't no atheists in the trenches.
Very interesting.
Bombs is dropping.
She said in war, honey. I visualize that like they have the guns, but again, that just sounds like something I don't need to wrap my mind around because I'm not going to be there. And again, because God, me, you, I don't think to take up the role that you have. I don't think to say, you know what, I'm just going to do that because I feel like that's what I should. I have no inclination in my body, okay, to do what you do to provide and protect. Like there's no part of me, because again, I always say, even when Tran comes to visit and she's about to do something, I'm like, there's a man in the house. Like we don't. There's no need to do that.
By the door.
Oh no, I said the trash by the door. I don't.
It ain't moving.
It's not moving. It's a simple things. I said that if Tran comes and her suitcase needs to be moved, I'm like, bro, like it's just what it is. So Dahlia Duran says, I have no desire to date a religious man. I find men who rely heavily on religion are also highly judgmental. I prefer a spiritual man or someone who's confident in his faith, whatever that may be. That she justified you.
I think
I couldn't date a highly religious man.
This ain't a diss, but I think the higher your IQ, the less religion works for you, and that's not shade, but it's kind of like basic principles for people who aren't blessed with the ability to figure life out for themselves. If you live like this, your life will get better, and I love religion for that. But I also think, like many other things in our civilization, in our society, the idea of religion is one thing, but how it's been practiced and put into place and manipulated, yes, I say manipulated over time, is something else.
No, and I will
there's way more going on at the Vatican than just some old white dude with a cane.
Well, Dahlia Joanne said what you said has been proven through science, and atheists tend to have higher IQs. You want to know why?
Because a little too high sometimes.
Here's the thing, they question. Religious people do not want you to question religion.
Nope.
And we're going to hold it, but I'm gonna but that's kind of what it is. Like, if you are overly religious, the moment I bring a question that you are unable to answer, you question my faith and my walk with God, because there is no explanation to the question. They have just accepted, well, the Lord and the preacher said that. So that, no,
but
man.
There's some very problematic things about our Black America's relationship with the church historically in America. There's some very problematic things with that. And I think there's a lot of people that are just like, nope, can't talk about it.
So let me, because again, a lot of the conversations we have, I'm not a Black American woman. I don't know the struggles of being a Black American woman. I know the struggles of being a Black woman. I know the struggles of being an immigrant Black woman. I know those struggles, but I understand that the Black American woman struggle is different. Understanding all of that, is that why primarily there is a disdain in the Black American female community about this idea of God be you? Because of all of the, I guess, ideas about the social construct of just religion as a whole.
And it don't work with misandry.
Keep going.
How you gonna put a man before yourself if you hate men? You've been taught your whole life to hate men and you don't even really realize that.
Is it to hate men?
And maybe hate is a strong word, but you have a deep-seated distrust of men. We were talking about that show y'all was watching the other night. Married at First Sight or something like that. And I was just contrasting the differences between when the dude goes meet her family and she goes meet his family. And the contrast between the white couples and the Black couples was
crazy. It was very stark.
Was I not pointing out? Yeah, there's not a single one of the Black couples had a single man other than like Cousin Earl or somebody like that in the entire situation. I'm like, where's the fathers at? First off,
you were like irritated by that.
I like, because again, one of the couples, he asked to take the dad outside to speak to him individually. Like, the way this went, I didn't get a chance to do that. But again, there's certain things about a pecking order. I was just talking to Danny about that. Like, I wish some dude would come knocking on the door talking about, I'm here for Danny. Like, I don't even know you, so you obviously tripping. Like, can't anybody come pick my daughter up without introducing themselves to me? No.
Well, that's key. Let me go back. You said
she got a dad, bro.
You said misandry. God, I've lost my train of thought now because you kept going. And so you went on a train. Well, let's get to me. Go on to you.
So the me part of it, again, because it ties into the misandry, it has to be me.
Why?
Because we will come to a fork in the road eventually. And I think even quote unquote simps or beta males or whatever term you want to use to try to make a man that feels like empowering his woman beyond a certain acceptable threshold is too much. But even him, he will regret not, because here's the thing about it. So we get to the fork in the road. If we go your way and it's the wrong way, I'm still responsible.
Yeah.
That's why it has to be me.
Yeah, I'm still gonna be like, Rob, why'd you make me go this way?
Why didn't you stop me from doing it? Exactly. Dudes, we tired of playing them games. So it has to be me. There's no other way for this thing to work. But again, if you don't trust him, if you don't believe in him, if you don't think that his vision, his strategy, his leadership is going to take y'all where y'all trying to go, you can blame him for it, but ultimately you got to look at yourself and make the better decision for yourself.
That's the part I never understand, right? It was so interesting. Again, rest in peace, Uncle Kevin Samuels. When he would ask the question, tell me about your last relationship breaking up without blaming the man.
It's almost impossible.
It was almost impossible for women to explain their last relationship without blaming the man for its demise. The guy was usually toxic. He was controlling. He was a cheater. He was all of that. It was never ever them. And I've always questioned, the one thing I say is I am the common denominator in all of my failed relationships.
Me too.
At some point, I had to look within and go, what is it that you're doing to, number one, attract? And if you're attracting them, why are you entertaining them? Right? Like, if you're entertaining toxic, controlling, abusive, all of those different men, is it the men or is it you? Are you putting yourself in a position to win in a relationship? Why are those men attracting you? What is it about my aura? Now, luckily for me, that usually wasn't my situation, but I would look at any relationship after its demise and start going, okay, what went wrong on my part?
Right.
What can I do better so the next time it doesn't end up in the same way? So for me, it's always interesting where it's like, well, I'm gonna, only if you can lead. Well, why would you be with a man who can't lead you? Why would you be with a man you don't trust? Why would you be with a man you don't respect? Why would you do any of these things? It's always interesting to me. Also, the women with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's a woman the other day on the show, Kendra D, 5 different kids, 5 baby daddies. The last one married her with her 4 other kids. She left him and she was bashing him. And I thought to myself, a man picked you up knowing that you gave 4 other men children. They didn't choose you. He actually chose you, married you, and then she started bashing him. Yeah. How many times you get to make bad choices?
1150.
So I'd be curious, how many chances do we get women to continually make bad choices?
Yeah, because women gotta check that with other women, man.
We do.
Y'all, man. Like that's the part of me, like, man. And I get it. Like sometimes I'll be like younger men, and I can't really speak to that and secondly, I don't even want to give shade younger men because becoming this is a process.
Becoming this is a process.
This shit doesn't happen at 18.
And this doesn't happen at 18 either. But it also takes insight, right? It also takes self-reflection.
Yes.
It takes all of that to be able to be in these cheers.
It takes a level of seriousness too, man.
That part.
It takes a level of seriousness. Like when you're in a relationship, when it fails, and when you're seeking the next one, and all of that. Like if you're not really like, if it's just okay, like I said, the difference in some people don't like that we say we treat it like a business and we're planning it out and we want to know every single thing that's going on and where it's going and where it's coming from and all of that. Some people like let's just see where it goes.
We don't have. First of all, we're in our 40s. We're not just seeing where anything goes anywhere. we have too much at stake.
My time
there is too much at stake. When we break it down, it's like the relationship is like stocks, right? And the stock market is garbage right now. Trust me, I know when I keep checking my stock, but that's what it is. There's too much at stake in our relationship to just be willy-nilly letting things happen. We have to make decisions and determine, okay, what path are we going on? How are we going to get there? Who's in what position to allow this to happen? Who's better suited in the relationship to get us this part of it? It doesn't matter. Rob is always, again, if there's a fork in the road and Rob says go left, I'm going to go left. But we also recognize strengths and weaknesses. And there's also this, he'll be like, babe, that's where you are strong. And so this is the path, this is what we need you to do. But again, if it comes to where I have to go make two decisions and I'm not sure which one to make, and I go to Rob, I'm like, here are the two options. If Rob says option A, it's option A. Why? Because if I choose option B and it still doesn't work, I'm going to be mad as hell and be like, why? So again, exactly, that's how it is. So Dahlia Joanne said, but let's get back to it for a moment. What were those women's beliefs? Having multiple children with multiple men, what are their beliefs and how do they demand a godly man? Girl.
Good question, because I think people just think that, you can just, like, there's not really a clean slate in life. Like, I learned that early.
Well, because I don't want to forget my thought. Okay, go ahead.
No, but I was going to get back to the me from a different perspective. I was going to sidetrack on that, but let's get back to the me again. And additionally, why it has to be me is this. Happy wife, happy life. Okay, yeah, cool. But how many women have left him anyways? And they were happy.
Yeah, we don't.
He did exactly what you asked him to do.
Yeah, we don't subscribe to happy wife.
Happy wife, happy. No, here's what it really is. Unhappy dad equals no pad. That home is going to break when he's unhappy for long enough.
The first time he said that, I died. But let me go back to that. Let me get to Dahlia Joanne. Here's the thing about once it's a mistake, anything after that is a choice.
I agree.
That's what I've always said, right? Once is a mistake. Because guess what? Part of being in this space that Rob and I are very comfortable being in is we had to make mistakes. We had to have failures. We had to do missteps, whatever you want to call them. And we had to analyze them and learn from them. So again, having one child out of wedlock, you can call that a mistake, right? Oops, for whatever reason, you chose to have that baby. When you then start having the experience of what it's like to be a single mom or a single income household, maybe that's a better thing. Because some women are out there saying that they're single mom and they're simply a single income household because that's the only income. They actually have a very active father. There's a very difference between a single mom who running around there doing everything by herself with no help from the father and actually being a part of a single income household. Well, I'm going to go on a rant, so I'm going to stop there. But again, once you're on baby mama number 2, a baby father number 2, that relationship didn't work, then baby father number 3, and that relationship didn't work, and then baby number 4. Like, at some point, these are choices. You are choosing to have these children by yourself. So I agree with you. How do you then turn around and come on shows like Uncle Kevin Samuels and Kendra G and talk about, I now want a godly man? But sis, your pum-pum was everywhere. Well, which godly man want a pum-pum that had just been... Because again, if you got 5 different baby daddies, imagine how many men had gone through that didn't slip up. So your you now have 5 evidences of babies you're just having because you're slack. Sorry, that's how men are gonna look at it. Let's just be serious. Yeah, you're slack.
We look at it. We don't even go into that far.
Yeah, slack. That's what you're all saying.
I think that here's the thing: feminism, and I think on a certain level it worked because it crushed our community a lot more than any other communities. Because again, Caucasian women weren't running around acting crazy, having all these children out of wedlock and nothing like that. Like I said, a lot of these women that were burning bras at Cal Berkeley went home to their husbands. And that was smart. But here's the thing. The message of part of feminism was, your reproductive rights. Mm-hmm. You can have these children, sis. It don't matter now. But I'm gonna segue it back to another conversation that we had. I think that's why women don't understand. Men look at it like this and the significance of it. What's the highest title I can give you?
Wife.
What's the highest title you can give me?
Father.
See why it's such a big deal?
Oh, it's a huge deal.
So you done gave 4 niggas you done made 4 men king?
And then turn around
and
tell
now you
another
want to tell
man.
me I'm the king of everything? And I got all these little princes and princesses?
That are not mine.
It ain't mine?
That I can't scold. And who will turn around and say, you ain't my daddy?
Ooh, yeah. That's tough, right?
That is.
What is the highest title I can give you?
Wife.
What is the highest title you can give me?
Father. So
does it make sense for you to give me the highest title you can give me if I haven't given you the highest title I can give you?
No. Not, again, multiple times. And just
but here's the jacked up part about it. My reproductive rights end at skeet.
Yours do end at skeet because a woman has the only choice that matters is the woman's. You don't get to say, you know what, I skeeted. Okay, you don't get to say I skeeted. Now go deal with that. Well, here Mr. Flowers 20 is watching from downstairs. In the animal world, they kill off the offsprings. They do. So, and this is what women didn't understand. And Uncle Kevin used to ask all the time. Okay, in the lion kingdom, what do you think happens if the lion comes into a lioness? Okay, and she already has offsprings, and people would I'd be like, girl, you know what he does? He kills them. He's not taking care of something that's not his. So when you got multiples, and then you say, but I want a good man who's going to lead me. Girl, it's clear you can't be led. You make bad, and that might be why you make bad choices, and that's why you have to be led. I know, right? I'm pissed a lot of people off with that. Have women ever considered they make bad choices?
No, that women inherently, I think we had this conversation, I think women inherently understand on a certain level y'all need to be checked.
Oh no, I wrote that in my book. So for people who don't know, I have a book called No Handouts for Black Girls, and I talk about my relationship with Rob, and I said one of the parts, and my editor's on, one of the parts of our relationship that was so important is Rob had the ability to check me because I need to be checked at times. I need him to no. Okay? And I know that about myself. Because
cool face.
No, I'm not that bad. I do grit a little. Like I do a little jaw.
And I really don't maternal her as much as I used to because we're progressing in our relationship. We're on the same page more often than not. But I think sometimes, and again, it's in her woman's energy space, as things, it's like kick the tires and see if I'm still, make sure that I ain't losing a step or something like that. Okay? When it's a pro, she'll come in there with a little finger roll still, and I'll be like, get
that out of here.
You better come in here like you trying to score.
So Dahlia Joanne said, not skeet, sir. Mr. Flowers says facts. Dahlia Joanne said, these women need to seek a good man with a stellar pull-out. Game. And Mr. Flowers said, nah, some women cannot be led. And then he also says, only in the Black culture you hear so frequently independent Black women. And Dahlia Joanne, who's also my editor, said, buy the book, No Hands Up for Black Girls. It is fire. But here's the thing. And again, write it in the book. This idea of the strong Black woman, it's a fallacy. And we need to stop teaching it. I do not teach that to my girls, especially to the 12-year-old. The 20-year-old, she's in university, she's had her feminism courses, and we sometimes get into debate, but she's still in line with understanding. You've spoken with her, you deal with her, she's not like, hand up, I'm gonna go do this, right? But she has strong views. Our 12-year-old, however, she's very much understanding about this is how it goes. Right? We'll watch shows together and we'll talk about some of the mistakes and some of the things people think about and all of those different things. There is an understanding that, again, because of our makeup as women, and if we just want to bring it down to biology, because of our makeup as women, because of the power of the femininity that we are given as a woman, we don't always make the choices that are required to move the way we want to move. Dahlia Joanne said, I'm tired. I'm a tired Black woman. I need someone to lead me, feed me, rub my feet, give me forehead kisses, and do me right when the lights go out. I wrote something very similar on LinkedIn. I said, I do not want to be a strong Black woman. I am vulnerable. I need help. I need all of that. This title that we're given. And so for me, the most power I've had is in this relationship of being able to relinquish that.
Trade independence for freedom.
I traded my independence for my freedom.
Your whole day is free to pursue.
My whole day is, and it's funny, Dahlia Joanne, let me tell you, you were, because you're not here Tuesdays anymore. So I was going in, and I forgot what I was supposed to say, and she's like, are you going to have a white woman wine? Oh, did you not meditate today? Rob pays all the bills. Oh, are you sad? Like, bitch, why are you sad? Oh, you don't get to pay bills? Oh, you get to do what you want with your money? She was like, bitch, are you gonna complain about your life? You best not.
Thank you, Joanne.
No, she had, and I wasn't gonna complain. I wasn't that bad. I was gonna complain. I was making a comment. I don't remember.
She was trying to stick her checks out.
She said Robert the Caucasian was on.
No, she really has. I've noticed it. I've been like trying to, like, okay, she took feelings to it one day. So, like, she says, how am I supposed to know or whatever? But
what did you do?
The downstairs bathroom thing. I was like, first off, why you gotta get ready when I'm getting ready for work?
But I was getting ready.
She wants to get her ready together, and but I was outside getting my thoughts together, chilling. I come in, she in the bathroom, and I'm like, okay. And then she did it the second day, and I was like, maybe I'm being petty. And I was like, so when I brought it to her, I was like, yo, I'm not trying to be rude, but can you use the upstairs bathroom in the morning when you gotta do stuff in the bathroom? And she's like, how am I supposed to know what you're doing? And I'm just like, damn.
But here's the thing. Best believe the next morning I went upstairs to. So I may have some words to say because, like he says, I'm Jamaican, and it's just natural for me to say what is never rude. But the next day I did go use the upstairs bathroom.
Skin this thin.
My skin is not thin.
Man, listen, she's a tough woman, but not with me. She
said, no, bathroom time in the morning is sacred, and you have multiple bathrooms. We do have multiple. Again, we are blessed to have multiple. Yes, I do take my ass upstairs because now he's right. He needs his bathroom time because he gets ready and he's out the house. And again, he's the provider. I make him his breakfast. So this is, ladies, I'm telling you, God, me, you, it is not such a bad deal. So my days used to be waking up, going to the gym and getting myself together and getting my breakfast and getting to the office and working, 10, 11, 12-hour days and coming back and making dinner and making sure I picked up my daughter from dance practice and all of that. Now my days are, first of all, I make sure all of his shirts are ironed. I try to make sure all of his shirts are ironed in advance. If they're not ironed, I get up in the morning, I iron his shirt, I make him his breakfast, I then make the bed, I change, and I go to the gym. So then he goes off to work, he gives me kisses, I go to the gym, I spend about an hour or so, I then come home, and then I meditate, and then I find out what the child is doing because it's summer break here. I give her some activities, I have a nice breakfast. It takes me about an hour because I'm making hash browns, and I sit down and I eat, and I'm not rushing, I have my tea, and then I was like, oh, it's like 10 o'clock, I have some calls, and then I do some editing, and then I go back downstairs. Like, God, me, you ladies. I'm telling you, y'all need to subscribe. She said you need to stop talking, but no one's going to sympathize with you ever again. But I'm just making a point for God, me, you.
Oh my God, she is.
I thought about it the other day. I actually thought about it when I was like looking around, and I was like, oh, I'm at the gym. This is great. This is a great day. And I'm early. Yeah, the bed is made.
Wait till tomorrow. Next week, she'll be talking about the next thing I did for her. I don't want to hear it.
There again, trading your independence for freedom. And it was funny when Rob and I had that conversation. We were laying in bed and I forgot what was happening. And I said, it's interesting for people who look at the decision I made to, in their mind, give up everything that I had to go follow this man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I gave up everything I had to follow this man, and how dare I do it? But before I go into that, I'm going to go into what Dahlia Joanna said. You manifested this, girl. I did. Now write a book on how others can manifest it for themselves. Laugh out loud. Is that God or is that good luck? That's a good one. It was a combination of both. It was my faith that I could find something else, but I had to get myself ready. I had to get myself right. And to me, getting therapy is part of faith. Getting therapy, which is what I did before I met you, it was that moment of saying, I need something other than. To me, God led me to therapy. I don't care what any woman says. God led me to sit with someone to be able to work on the things I needed to work on, to be able to, when I met this man, that I was ready to receive what he had to give. And that's the key. A lot of women are getting into relationships with men. You're not ready to receive what they have to give. And so you see what they have to give as aggressive and all, but that's their men. That's what they're supposed to do. So again, laying in bed with Rob one day, and again, I forgot what we were talking about. And I just looked at him and I said, it's interesting as I lay here right now, although a lot of people looked at my decision to move as like the craziest thing. Luckily, I had a really supportive inner circle who was like, girl, please, you can just come home, right? Like, it was like, you always want to have a place. Well, one of us will put you up until you get back on your feet, but go and, go pursue love, because you had not been pursuing love. Treyanne my daughter was very like, please go. But there are a lot of people who saw it as like, you're giving up all of this. And I was like, what? I gave up independence? I'm free. I'm free of the worries that I used to have to worry about being a strong, independent woman, which was a title I never wanted in the first place.
And I mean, is it really that difficult to say, I need money for groceries?
No. That's not that hard.
But a lot of y'all get bent out of shape, like, I don't want to have to ask no man. It's like, I don't like telling her no.
Yeah, he doesn't like telling
But budget constraints and all of the things we got going on and transitions, and just like I said, y'all gonna continue to see us level up, man. That's my job. And she supports me doing that. That's all she's done since she's been with me.
And again, I get to meditate. Sometimes on top
and
of
I
mountains.
worry about how to be like, the situation today. Yeah. I was like, are they bugging, man? So I'm like, if I get a late fee, I'll be bugging, because I did what I was supposed to do, but the situation is handled. But I can't even sleep at night when the rent ain't paid.
Oh, and I was at the gym. And I was meditating. So Dahlia Joanne said, that's a good point. Therapy is imperative. My next man has to have faith and a therapist on speed dial, come healing or not at all. A lot of women need to be. I think in relationships, you have to come healed, because again, if you're holding on to your past, and that's why I think for a lot of women, they have the issue with the God, me, you concept. Dahlia Joanne's favorite word is ding dong. Okay, it's one of her favorite words. A lot of women have submitted, and I'm going to put that in quotation because what they considered submitting wasn't really submitting, right? They've submitted to ding dongs, and now they hold every other man after that man accountable for them not being able to submit.
Yep.
Instead of looking at the fact that, girl, that man had showed you that he wasn't the type of man to lead you nowhere but into debt.
Well, you're supposed to submit to winners, not losers. If you submit to a loser, you're going to be a bigger loser than he is.
Facts.
But if you submit to a winner, you won't be as big a winner as he is, but you'll still be a fucking winner.
So let me ask you about this debate. And it's one that I've been seeing because, again, started watching the Kendra G show because, Uncle Kevin has passed away. And I'm a comment section reader. I'm always reading comment section because I'm always curious to know what people think after I digest information. So what about this argument? What's the point of doing things the right way and doing the whole God, me, you if we're going to get divorced anyways? There are women who in comment section, and a lot of them, I probably watched 10 episodes recently where I go into, especially when the women have been divorced, and women turn around and say, you see, that y'all are down on single mothers, but people just gonna get divorced anyways. Why submit to you if we may get divorced anyways?
Like, I don't. Just take yourself out of the dating pool. Like, please. Make it easier for everybody.
Well, that's what Dahlia Joanne say. If you go on believing that you're already getting a divorce, why bother getting married?
Just take yourself out. Like, just that's self-fulfilling prophecy. Those are strong. Like, if you think you can't do something, guess what? You're right. What do you think? Manifesting is proving you wrong? You think you're supposed to manifest dust and get gold?
No. So let me tell you one thing, and I'd be curious to know what people have to say. There was a gentleman that was on one of these shows, and he was talking about his criteria. Because here's the thing, people. Why is it that we're okay with women having standards, but the moment a man has standards, he's a misogynist, he's a no-good man, who does he think he is? Look at the shine on the bridge of his nose, his right ear is bigger than his left ear, he can't ask for nothing. They go in. So this gentleman who has been divorced, one of the questions they ask is, the person that you're looking for, is it okay if they have children? He said yes. However, it had to be in the course of a marriage. And so he will date a woman with children if she's been divorced. And that child was from the husband. Women went off.
Of course they were.
Let me tell you something. That was part of my thing with Rob.
How dare she demand protocol?
No, but the children that I am raising of our children, were in the course of his first marriage. I saw that very differently than him having a baby mama. I was not signing up for a man with a baby mama. Our oldest was born to parents who were married. She was planned. So him telling me that was important, because I was like, I'm not dating no man with a bunch of baby mamas. Like, I don't do like baby mama dramas and so forth. Because even though I also had an older child. When we met, my child was 18. She's gonna be 21 this year. Well, I'm gonna sign up for doing this again and deal with baby mama drama. No, sir. So for me, it was like, good on him for having standards, but the woman went off and said, how dare he, It was sickening. Not all planned babies are babies of marriage. That's agreed, and that's accurate. But he was very clear that he will help a woman raise babies that came out of a marriage, but he's not dealing with a woman who had babies just because she had a baby.
Right, and I'm gonna touch on this with what Joanne says is, most men seem to have very superficial standards. But the other side of it is that most of these women realize they're not going to meet his standards and are salty about it. Absolutely. Here's the thing. Men don't really believe in bell curves because we don't get graded on them. With men, a A is 90 to 100. A B is 80 to 90. A C is 70 to 80. A D is 60 to 70. And an F is everything below that. I don't care if half of the world's women are 40s. Y'all think, well, most of us are 40s, so we should be getting, so if you get a 50, you should have an A. No, men don't believe in grading on no curve. It is what it is. I don't care if every woman is unfit. Then I'm going to go where they got fit women at.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to say, oh, well, I guess I got to just adjust to the flow. And no. And I think women are mad because on a certain level, many women did that. Men ain't this and that and the third and the fifth, so I'm going to just go with Cletus.
No, Cletus.
Then that's your fault. That is totally your fault.
But going back to Dahlia Joanne's second point, not all planned babies are babies of a marriage, though. I think most men understand that the first child. Again, being a single income household at 22, because my daughter's father and I spent the first year of her life together. So at 22, almost 23, I was quote unquote single again, back on the market. And, you know, as I dated in my 20s and 30s, having one child, it was never really an issue for the men. My one child was never an issue. The issue most men had was that I didn't want any more children. Like my womb was closed.
Yeah,
So most men got the one child, but their issue then becomes when you have multiples. And I think it's also when you started having children later in life and then had multiple baby daddies. Later, it wasn't because you were 19 or 20 or 25 or whatever. You started having babies in your 30s, and by the time you're 40, you got 4 different baby daddies. They're confused.
That's crazy. That is a little crazy. I think a lot of it is just the way that things progress, though. I think this is how I even looked at it, because again, my ex had a daughter before me. And how I saw that and I remember it, is I think most men kind of see it similarly. Is like that child has a father. Either he's in their life or he isn't. I'm cool with either one. What I'm not cool with is the in and out, the back and forth, the up and down, the high and low. Like that's what I wasn't gonna be down with. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think most men, they is it messy? Most men, especially as we age, we're in our 40s now. What's the 40-year-old virgin was a movie? You know what I mean? Chances are there's children involved. Most men are on board with that as long as it ain't messy. But when it gets messy, he's still, I can't take you and your kids and my kids on vacation because Cletus won't allow it because he's an asshole. Like that type of stuff is where he's like, when Cletus ain't in your life, but he's still impacting your life and shit like that. That's when it's a problem. And also for men on the flip, like we know we have a little bit of drama in both situations regardless, but we minimize it. It's like, it's not here though. We don't have none here.
Yeah, when we're gonna quash that, it's not gonna affect what's happening in this house. Yeah, we don't deal with. As long as you guys keep your drama outside, it does not impact what's going on in this home. But again, going back to the you, and that's for me I had to know that I was in a space to be led.
Right. I get it.
How can I say I want a leader, but I can't be led?
Because there's other people making decisions and cutting stuff off and just influencing, and that's where all of that stuff gets messy. Like if you got 3-4 baby daddies, you're in a polyamorous relationship, whether you want to be in one.
That is true. That's what we talk about all the time. When people are like, oh my God, poly relationships, girl, you've been in a poly. You got at Christmas time, you got the 3 knocks on your door.
All that. You got 3 dudes coming through. Like, stop it.
Sorry, but I think here you talk about influence. A man should have influence in his woman's life. However, do you think that there's a lot of outside influence outside of the doors of the home that are creating issues within people's houses?
Oh, absolutely. One, I think that this probably is not gender specific, but 2, like I said, we have like a barrier, a natural buffer barrier built around the doors of this situation. We do not let nothing outside, especially of a negative influence. Like we barely let positive influence from outside come in, because it's just like we're good. We good in here.
We got outside noise. It's outside
what I'm saying? And that's how you eliminate the drama. Drama is creating problems when it ain't none. We have enough things to deal with just trying to get where we're trying to go. We don't need somebody adding additional issues to it just because they bored or they ain't got nothing to do, or they just, some people, drama works better for than others. Some people think with the lack of drama, there's a lack in the relationship. You can't be with a person who desires peace. And even when I say you're being extra and dramatic, you're still a peaceful woman though, because we go 2 separate corners when we're off.
We do.
You don't come in there outside in the patio door. And another thing I was just thinking about, like, I'm going to throw your ass on this balcony if you don't close that door and leave me alone.
But that's a good point. It's funny, even in moments of discord, we're still peaceful about it because we just both we realize that very easily. We just both naturally retreat to our sides.
Oh, male or woman, how you poking a bear in the chest and then when he maul your ass, you like, he crazy.
But I also
you don't get to poke a bear.
You don't get to do that. But I also can't ask you to lead and in moments of discord call you out your name and you like it's just I've never understood that concept, right?
My God.
Yeah, we got again a neighbor downstairs and this woman is she's bat-ish crazy. She was hanging off the balcony. We're on the third floor of a third floor building. She's on the second and she was hanging out of the balcony because Michael, I think, had locked her up because he didn't want to hear her shit. She's hanging off her body. Anyways, it was just...
I'm expecting to come home one day and it'd be a bunch of yellow tape around on the second floor because I'm just like, Michael, I finally had enough.
It's operating in dysfunction and operating in chaos. And that's another part. That's going to be my final point.
Yeah,
the fact of the matter to me is that is actually why you need order in a relationship because you cannot operate in chaos. When there is no order, again, if a company doesn't have hierarchy, if people can just sign off, imagine just being able to sign off and do whatever you want. So there is nobody to oversee the deals that you make and someone comes in and they say they want, $2 million, you haven't checked their collateral. I think, I get a good vibe from this guy. I'm just going to sign off. Mm-hmm. There's no checks and balances.
Oh boy.
Checks and balances. Companies require checks and balances. So why is it such a terrible thing when women say, guess what? My relationship has checks and balance. Danny doesn't get to do, Tran doesn't get to do, Grant doesn't get to just do whatever they want. That's not how it works.
Nope.
And usually it's go ask your mom. And then mommy will, if it's something, we can have a discussion, but you don't get to skip mommy, come to me with your complaint because mommy doesn't want you to do it. Because that's probably why you're coming to me because mommy done said no or whatever the case might be, right? It's generally how that works. There are checks and balances. So we're okay with checks and balances and hierarchies outside of our house. But when you're inside the house, like this young lady said, people want to call pick me, which I've been called. But how are you going to call people in relationships and married, telling them they have pick me energy when they've already been chosen? Like, I've already been chosen. So who do I need to pick me?
A woman with no man calling a woman with one a pick me. Well, yeah, it's working. Why don't you turn into a pick me shit?
Well, here was the funny part. This is the last comment I'm going to make. So again, Kendra G. Women got mad because that same man who said he wanted to, if he was dating a woman with children, it was because it was out of a marriage. He said, I don't see why people have like an issue with this idea of the fact that men choose marriage. Kendra G went off and the women in the comments went off, well, a woman always has a right to say no, so men don't choose ish. How?
Debating something so stupid. But again, didn't Maya marry herself?
Maya did marry herself. She's been in
Show me a white woman
term
in the world that married herself.
It's a long term. Well, there was a Brazilian woman. She ain't white. But there was a long. Maya's been in a long-term committed relationship with herself. She, yes, Maya the singer. Maya, yeah, that girl. For people who are like Maya, yeah, she married herself. Well, look it up. Google it. Maya married herself. Now the key is it's so interesting because that is right. The industry of marriage targets men for proposals and targets women for weddings.
You ever heard the term shotgun wedding?
Yes, of course I've heard.
Who's the shotgun pointed at?
The man.
Because
marry me or
that's
else.
the only way to get a man to marry someone without him just choosing.
And back in the day, it was really a daddy with a shotgun, that the man who was chopping his daughter down.
Pregnant, you say the wrong thing, and I'm gonna drop you in
You
this
better
church.
marry my daughter.
You better marry her.
Because again, you do control access to marriage. I don't know many a woman who are going to be. I would not propose to you. I did not like Rob with you. I wanted married, but Rob Rob is the one who is orchestrating when we get married, how it works. He just says you plan the wedding, but I can't be standing there without Rob. They're gonna be like, "Where's your man, girl? Like, where is the groom?"
And she can't make me show up.
And I can't make him do anything. So yes, you do absolutely. And again, we understand hierarchies, we understand processes outside of the home. And that's why, again, when we say we're changing the conversation around Black relationships and we say fuck your feelings, let's just really be logical about this. Like, let's really think about outside of the home, there's hierarchy that's accepted, but inside the home, somehow things just run in chaos without order.
And that's how it is. And before we get to the questions and closing, the you is, if you got a problem with the pecking order of that, you the problem. Like, we can just leave it there.
That is not okay. Let's pick our question. I will go first since I'm open. How good are you at reading people? I think I have a similar answer to the question to this. I actually think I'm pretty good at reading people. I think I am fairly good at reading people. And this is why, because I not only listen to understand, I'm very good at reading, quote unquote, reading the room. I'm very good at looking at people's body language and also focusing on what they do not say as opposed to what they say. So what do you think, Vin? Do you think I'm good at reading people?
Pretty good. I ask you about certain situations. I want you to give me a read on that because I know how I see it, but I trust her opinion on people. What's a question you wish people would ask more often? Not how tall I am. Anything besides that.
Okay, so can you actually answer the question? What's a question you wish people would ask more often?
I don't know anything other than that's the lead question. I think anything else let that be the second or third question you ask me. You come off as much more articulate and intelligent.
That's usually, well, what about if they ask you, so where'd you play ball?
That's assumptive, and when you make this is about assumptions.
Well, anyways, continue.
That doesn't mean I owe you my basketball story. Yeah, you're actually right, but that doesn't mean I owe you the story. I've told plenty of people, just high school a little bit, like, good.
And then I'm usually one who's like, he's lying. This is how he played ball here. I always am like, I'm like his cheerleader. I'll be like going behind, like, Rob, yay! What would your perfect life look like? I'm kind of living it. I just kind of described my day, and I meditate, and I have Beyonce here, and I think I'm living it, and it's only gonna get better. Like, my perfect life is because I'm with you, really. Because you're I know, we're to be sweet today.
Awesome answer for sure. All right, what is something petty that I can actually read these? Maybe it's the glasses.
It's the glasses, and you were always complaining about my writing.
What is something petty that people do that really gets on your nerves? The need to be right, and it's not just women; it's men sometimes too. But when you're not 100% sure about something and you just digging in on it, like, what's wrong with saying I'm not really sure, or I'm gonna think about that, and that might change my mind, or like ideas. Why everything got to be a belief?
Well, Dahlia Joanne just gave a question she wish people would ask more often is, how are you feeling?
Right. I'm like, with a show like Fuck Your Feelings, like, I don't know how much.
No, people always think that we don't care about feelings, but we do actually care a lot about feelings.
Yeah, it's just they don't drive decisions. That's the point of Fuck Your Feelings. They don't drive decisions. Logic and intelligence.
Dahlia Joanne also said the answer to my question of my perfect life, the one answer I gave was the only acceptable answer. I appreciate that. My final question, or second last question. What's our greatest strength as a couple to overcome adversity? Because we have been tested, boy. We have been tested, and I think our greatest strength as a couple is overcoming adversity together through communications. Because Rob just said it earlier. Even at the points where we are mad at each other, we don't go at each other, we separate, we deal, we fume, we do whatever. And by the time we come back together, it's very much Toshiba and Rob against everybody else. And sometimes I think that irritates people, that's kind of how we roll. I make certain comments and people aren't happy about, nobody just gets to say anything about him. Because again, we don't allow others to penetrate this, because the moment you allow people to penetrate this with all of this extra stuff, I think you're losing as a couple, and we're trying to win.
I would agree. What's your definition of romance? Well, we've talked about this a bit. I think there's like, ideally, like for me, for me to truly be romantic in like the definition sense of the word is like you got to take away all of the outside noise. Like all the bills got to be paid. Like everything got to be straight, and then that allows the wheels to turn and be like, oh. But I actually do think like let me do something nice for Sheila. Let me try to express to her what she means to me, things along those lines. And I know she likes simple, more traditional romantic gestures. We're working on that. But for me, I also look at it as like I said, the only reason you knew it was a problem with getting the bills paid was because I was like, yo, what's up with this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to take this card. You know, I think those things are romantic.
I do think that's romantic.
Being able to run the air conditioner incorrectly and not get cussed out and stuff like that. Like,
you know what? Leave me alone.
Be able to leave every light on in the house, and it's no big deal. Like.
And I turn off all the lights because I enjoy the dark.
Pretty good about it. You know?
I do.
But when you leave the studio, this should be lit a lot of times.
Leave me alone. Respect. That's our superpower, Dahlia Joanne said. Pays the bills. That's hella romantic.
I think
I agree. And the first time he told me that when I asked him to do something romantic, he's like, I paid these bills all night. I was like, that is facts. That is very romantic, Robert. This is my last question. What do you think would bring us closer together as a couple? I think taking more trips without these kids.
We can get closer. I was going to say just taking more trips. But we can bring the kids and still be closer. Jesus.
Yes. Everyone's so love them.
What do you see as your role in our relationship? Well,
perfect last question.
Perfect last question. Duh. Like, I am the king. I don't have to be like fake humble or fake arrogant or fake anything with it. I am the king of these four walls around here. And I'm talking about the exterior four walls. Once I go down the breezeway, I ain't the king no more. You know what I mean? I'm out in the world doing what I got to do. When I walk into work, I'm definitely not the king. There are several people above me. You know what I'm saying? But in here, the only person above me is God. That was the whole point of the show.
Facts. So I was like tipping over because I was remembering what next week's show is. So next week's show will be an interesting one. We're talking about intentional dating, but the title of next week's show is Bullshit and Get Left. Bullshit and Get Left. Again, I think this is going to ruffle a few.
Rightfully so.
This is going to ruffle a few feathers. And we're talking about, again, dating at our age, dating after 35, 38, especially in our 40s. There's not a lot of time to waste, people. So, people want to call it intentional dating. We're calling it bullshit and get left. So we want to thank everybody for joining us. And no, I wasn't about to do a white wine, Natalia Joanne. I'm just saying what I feel at the moment, okay? So I want to thank everybody for joining another episode of Fuck Your Feelings. Again, make sure you're following our sponsor, Sorrel and Sage. You can find them at Sorrel and Sage CA on Instagram, and shopsorrelandsage.com is their website. Again, some of the best products you will find. And Dahlia Joanne, who's on, she actually makes them by hand, and I get to be a part of the process and learn about what's going on. I'm waiting for my shimmer oil, girl, so I can be glistening on the show. Rob, any last words?
No, thanks once again for rocking with us. We appreciate it. Thanks for the participation. Joanne, thanks for just bringing your energy to the show, keeping it moving. Love y'all. We'll continue to be doing this every Thursday. We're about to go finish watching this game, see what's going on there, try to get something to eat. And see y'all next Thursday. Those that join us on Saturday, missed us yesterday. And I'll be back Monday on Rob talking by himself.
So as I like to say, bring a little fuck your feelings into your life and into your day, because it might just make you stay together. And until next time, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.